back. My name is SL Gamer Guy, and Hello, SL Gamer Guy here, and I would just like to apologize because, sort of an apology and a warning. The Windows 10 update, I don't know if they named this one, but the recent Windows 10 update has been crashing and bricking at least 3 computers that I know of. And Audacity, I don't know quite what to do. I'll see how reliable it is, but during this recording, as you can see, I'm talking into this microphone. Obviously, it's working now because I'm recording the audio in OBS. However, I am because I don't trust Audacity still. I've uninstalled it, I've reinstalled it, and I can't get the saved file to work for this. So the audio you're currently hearing is from the Facecam, which I use, which is the Ion Air Pro, thus why it is rather poor audio quality. However, for every episode of Buried after this, the audio has been fixed. So with that being said, I would like to resume your scheduled broadcast. Enjoy. Today we are playing Buried. Buried, as you can see on screen, is an interactive story. The plot will change based on the choices you make. The story is broken into 5 chapters. So, Buried is, from my understanding, a very suspenseful, text-based, I guess you could call it a horror game. So I started watching one of Markiplier's videos on this, and it looked like a cool game. So I got like 5 minutes into the video, stopped, bought the game, and now I'm going to play through it with you guys. So, as I said, this is text-based, so it's primarily just going to be me narrating what it says on screen and picking choices, so this would be a great video to put on in the background if you're doing something else. I don't believe there are any jump scares, so feel free to wear headphones. So let's take and begin. Ooh. We're in a forest. I open my eyes, and the first thing I want to do is scream. I'm flat on my back, and everything seems to hurt. The trees overhead look familiar. It's a clear night sky, almost beautiful. Except for the fact that that means I've been out cold for at least 6 hours. But there's nothing wrong, I don't remember what. But something happened, and my head, oh my gosh, my head hurts. And it's ringing in my ears. Was there an accident? An explosion? I remember Dennis screaming. But after that, I can't remember. As I sit up, I notice that my hard hat has been thrown off. I look around the area, but it's not here. It feels strange to go anywhere without my hard hat. But I've got to find the other members of the crew. They could be in danger. So this is going to be essentially what this entire game is. They give us a little predicament, essentially, and then we can either search for our hard hat, or forget the hat, search for the crew. I feel like a hard hat is not a very necessary thing right now. We just awoke from, I guess, being knocked out cold for 6 hours, so let's take and forget the hat, search for the crew. I decide my hat can wait until I figure out what's going on. I get up and take a look around the logging site. I smell something burning, and don't hear any engines running. Wait. Something isn't right. Was it the bulldozer? Maybe the darn thing overheated for the last time. Maybe the engine finally blew. What a mess. Well, maybe I'm jumping to conclusions. Only one way to find out, I guess. I walk over to the center of the logging site and don't like what I see. What's gonna happen next? The logging site looks like a bomb was detonated right in the center. I don't know where to start. The one load we managed to stack on a truck for the day is overturned. The trailer bent and logs hanging off the back. Where the heck is everyone? My head is still killing me and it's ringing in my ears. I can't hear anything. Not birds, not my footsteps. Nothing. It makes me wonder if I hit my head after my hard hat flew off. I run through a quick mental checklist to make sure my brain is still working. My name is Roger Hastings. I'm 41 years old. The year is 2017. I own a small logging company. We've been logging in the strip of Kentucky woodlands for almost a month now. Okay, so my brain works, that's a relief. But it also makes me fearful, because something is certainly not right here. I look around the logging site, my mind trying to figure out what has happened. Just about every piece of equipment has been overturned or tilted. Look at the debris or look at the truck. Well, that's the truck in the background, so I don't see what's very interesting about it. Let's look at the debris. There are bits of debris everywhere. There are fragments of the 5-gallon bucket I keep our work rags in, a loose saw chain, and an overturned gas canister. Had there been an explosion, all of the fuel on site would have started a fire, but there's nothing. There's no charring, no burning, nothing. I walked through the area where Dennis had been working. From the looks of it, he'd been moving slowly. He'd only taken down 4 trees today. His metal lunchbox is open, an indicator that he'd been taking an early break, but he's not here. No one is. Where the heck is everyone? I could try to make a call on my cell phone, but its battery's already running really low. Not that it matters, the reception is crap out here. Also, yes, I am self-censoring, because number 1, I try to keep the channel PG, and number 2, half my videos are already not demonetized. You can't see them if you're in restricted mode on YouTube, so I don't want to make it any worse. Call someone on cell phone. Well, he already said that the reception is terrible and the battery's running out, so if the reception is crap, then there's nothing else we can do. Let's just take and yell out. Hey guys! Where is everyone? Tony, Dennis, Frank, and Joe. But their names fall flat among the wreckage. I get nothing back other than scaring a few birds overhead. Might as well start walking and try to find some answers. The highway is almost a mile back through the woods. Down the gravel road we used to reach the site. Maybe the crew ran that way for help. Why'd they have left me? Were they scared? Out of sorts? Maybe I can catch up to them, but with my truck turned over on its side, it looks like I'll be walking. My gosh, I can't even remember what I was doing before waking up on my back. Wait, what's that? Underneath the bulldozer. Oh my gosh, it's a leg. It has to be either Tony or Dennis. The dozer looks unstable, like it might roll some more. It might not be safe to get close, but at the same time, I can't just leave him there. Maybe I should have grabbed the hard hat. Let's just take and go look. Hey! I yell. Are you okay? Are you alive? I skip over. Now is not the time for skipping. I skip over the stray logs and wrecked equipment to get closer. Seeing the dozer teeter makes me think maybe I should have grabbed my hat. Yeah, I get what you're trying to say, game. I can see a bit more of the leg. The jeans are soaked in blood. I recognize the work boots. It's clearly Tony. His leg is bent at an impossible angle, nearly crushed flat. The closer I get, the more apparent it becomes that Tony didn't survive. Well, there's no need pulling the body out. So, why should I have grabbed my hard hat? Was that something I should have done? Think probably was. Let's just leave the body alone. There's nothing I can do for him now. I start to back away slowly. In my shock, I stumble back, suddenly tripping over one of the stray logs. I bang my head hard on one of the logs as I fall. Instantly, I can feel a massive lump forming on the back of my head. Darn. Why didn't I grab my hard hat? What hurts more is the realization that Tony is dead. Looking at him, I feel sorry. Looking at him, I feel something rising up in my throat, and I don't know if it's a scream or vomit. But I have to push it away. If I lose my cool right now, there are too many questions that'll go unanswered. Crap. I can't believe this. Tony, he had 2 boys. He coached his oldest son's baseball team. It was the hardest work I had, and he was one of the most honest and reliable men I knew. This isn't right. I can't stay here. I have to find Dennis, Frank, and Joe. I have to find out what happened here. Just gonna take a sip of water, just... Much better. What happens next? Logs. Interesting. As I walk through the stacks of logs from the last week or so of work, everything feels frozen. This high-pitched sound in my ears, it's terrible. It keeps happening every few seconds and sounds like it's coming from far away. I can't help but wonder, is it my ears or is it something else? The silence out here is creepy and there's a smell, like the atmosphere after a bad summer storm. I might as well admit it, I'm a little scared. Everyone is missing and it's dead quiet. Out here. There doesn't seem to be a breeze to rustle the leaves and branches. My right knee hurts like heck, and my head was hurting so bad before that I never even noticed the pain in my knee. I must have heard it during the what? Accident or... Wait, is that Dennis? I see him sitting on the ground, motionless, about 30 feet away. Should we yell out or should we walk up to him? I feel like if we yell out, he might take and be startled and I don't know. Let's just yell out. Dennis! I yell. Dennis, can you hear me? Dennis lets out a shout like someone waking from a nightmare. Then looks back at me from the ground. Yeah, Roger, I can hear you. He hollers back. As I head over to him, Dennis is built like a wrestler and has the tough personality to match, but in this moment he looks disoriented and maybe even a little anxious. Though I'm glad to see him, the fear on his usually confident face is alarming. What the heck happened to you? What's going on? He asks. Don't know. The crew's missing. Well, it looks like an explosion, but there was no, burn marks and no gas set on fire, so let's just take and state the facts that we know so far. Missing? Dennis says. Where do you think they went? I'm not sure, but it had me pretty freaked out. Something's not right here. Still sitting on the ground, he looks around the woods as if he is just now understanding the severity of the situation. The equipment was overturned, the dozers too. I say, wiping my forehead. You okay? Yeah, just shaken up. Me too. This might be the most intimate conversation Dennis and I have ever had. While he and I have always been on good terms, we've never been particularly close. I've always respected him, though. Sure, he's come to work a few times looking like he'd be in a bar fight the night before. But I've also seen him do an enthusiastic impression of a dinosaur as he played with Tony's kids while they waited for their dad to finish up his shift. It's then that it hits me. Dennis and Tony were good friends. I'm not sure I want to rattle him with the news of Tony's death right now. Not before we know what's going on. But he has the right to know. He has the right to know that his best friend is dead. That's kind of an important thing. You were upfront with Dennis about Tony. Dennis's eyes fixate on me, startled. He was crushed under the dozer. Dennis pauses for a moment, like he's trying to understand what I said. His eyes narrow and his bottom lip quivers. Crap, he says. I can't tell that I can tell that he is fighting back tears. He and Tony had been tight, almost like brothers. Hey, he adds quickly, as if trying to escape the reality of Tony's death. Did you see that light? No. What did you see? I don't even know, Roger. It was like this flare of white light. It came right up out of the ground, like an explosion. So there was an explosion. Maybe it was some equipment, or this was no equipment, Dennis interrupts, agitated. This huge ball of light came right out of the darned earth. Where did it go? What did it look like? Well, was it like a UFO or something? Like looking into the sun, he says. It just feels like someone stabbed me in the eyes with a hot knife. When? I'm not sure, but I had finished about 10 trees for the day, and was about to top one. That's when it happened. You were almost done with 10 trees, I ask? Yeah, he says, looking at the ground. You know, I wouldn't want to take a lunch break until I was done. And that's when the light blew up. Why? You don't believe me? I believe you. You believe Dennis's story. He saw what he saw, I think to myself. He has no reason to lie about this. My gosh, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. But if I'm being honest, I'm scared pretty bad. And if it's all the same to you, I'd like to get the heck out of here. We both stand up and start heading towards the road. It isn't until we start moving that I see Dennis is wounded. His right side is coated in blood, and red seeping through his blue work shirt. There are splatters of it here and there, but also a very large red splotch that makes me worry. Are you in a lot of pain? I don't... He was described as a large, kind of macho man type of guy, so I'm assuming that if we ask him, are you in pain, he's just going to be like, no, 'tis but a flesh wound. So I'm going to ask, how did you get that injury? I'm not sure, Dennis replies. Must have gotten thrown or hurt somehow from that light. It's then that I notice that the strange ringing noise is still filling the air. Hey, I say, stopping. Do you hear that high-pitched ringing noise every once in a while? Dennis looks scared when I ask him this question, and he just nods. I thought it was just me, he says. He looks out of sorts and uncertain. I've never seen him like this before. It's obvious that he's looking for some reassurance. Even though I'm his boss, there's something very unnerving about this. We'll be okay, it's probably nothing, or it's freaking me out. Let's not take and escalate the situation. Let's try and de-escalate things just a little. Let's be realistic, I tell myself. I might as well be try to be empathetic. Out here in the middle of these woods, the ringing could be anything. Maybe a car alarm from through the woods or something. Still, even my passive comment seems to have reassured Dennis. He looks a bit calmer, more relaxed. We both start moving forward and don't say another word. Did you try to call Frank? Dennis asks. I know he had his cell on him today. Not yet. Luckily I still have some battery left. I pull out my cell and call Frank. Happy I didn't make that call to Dennis earlier. It rings, but he doesn't pick up. But then I hear his phone go off behind the stack of logs. Dennis and I give each other a look. As the phone goes to voicemail, I hang up, and we walk behind the logs and find Frank's phone on the ground, abandoned. We look around for Frank, but find nothing. Not a single trace. It's then I notice something really odd. A 10-foot wide hole in the ground, right near where the phone was. But there's no straight pile of removed earth or rocks. It's clean, smoothly dug, cutting into the earth wide, but only a few feet deep. It looks unnatural, like the ground was just deleted. No shovels or diggers used. Dennis walks over to it. This looks like the same kind of hole where I saw that light come from the ground. He muses to himself. I say nothing. My mind is spinning, but I don't know what to think. We need to get out of here, Dennis mutters. At that moment, The ringing noise. The ringing noise carries through the forest again, sending a shiver down my spine. Dennis is right. There's something strange going on. We might not be safe here. That ringing sound could be a clue to where the rest of the crew went. Also, I'm sorry if I sound a little bit hoarse or have a hiccup or two. I just ate spicy nachos. They were delicious. Are you jealous that you are not eating spicy nachos right now? You should be. Okay, so no, let's check out that sound. Agreed, let's get away from here. You know, I feel like the sound is probably something that's not good. So let's just take and get away from here. Agreed, let's get away from here. You decide to avoid the sound. With that, we turn and start walking to the west, in the direction that I'm pretty certain leads to the road. Continue. Cool. Scene change. It's sort of embarrassing. I've been a logger for nearly 50 years, but I'm finding it easy to get lost in these woods. The trees are so thick in places that the moonlight doesn't even reach the ground. It's easy to get turned around. My only hope is that I can find the overgrown dirt road that will lead us back to the highway. You're sure we're headed the right way? Dennis asks. Pretty sure, I say, turning to him, and see that he's clearly in pain. It's at this moment that we come upon another one of those smooth holes. This one's even stranger because a nearby tree also has a chunk cut out of it. The arc goes smoothly through the ground and then up through the trunk, like a cartoon wrecking ball blasted through both of them. What the heck are these things? Dennis whispers to himself. He takes a step down into the hole, his boots creating perfect impressions in the shape, like footprints on a sand dune. I'll walk around the perimeter because he's already down in the hole. I walk along the edge, each step sending pebbles down into the hole and ruining its perfect shape. I'm amazed at how smooth it is. Even rocks that were under the earth have been sheared to fit the spherical shape. But as I'm noticing this, I notice Dennis's feet start to sag. Dennis, get out! I start, but I don't finish. Before he can react, the ground is giving way and he's falling. I try to step back, but the fissure that opens up disintegrates the ground beneath my feet as well. I cry out in surprise and can barely hear Dennis letting out a curse as we go down into the earth. So we've just been swallowed up by the earth. Wonderful. Ooh, pretty cave. The fall isn't a long one, but when I hit something a few seconds later, it hurts like heck. The wind goes rushing out of me when I hit, and a sharp pain flies through me. What the heck? I say once my breath is back. Beside me, Dennis is slowly rolling over to get to his feet. I look up and see the hole in the ground where we fell through. It looks to be about 10 feet over our heads. It's completely dark, but there's a small flicker of light further into the cave ahead of us, and a solid wall of rock behind us. Looks like the only ways out are further down the cave, or up through the way we fell in. Dennis might be able to boost me up there, but with his injuries, I'm not sure how stable he is. He might drop me. Ooh, I'm not one to put my life in other people's hands. I sort of have mild trust issues that way. So let's take and just head deeper into the cave. I think that's going to be the smarter of the two decisions. I decide we'd better not risk hurting ourselves and try to climb out. As we turn to head into the cave, I take a closer look at the light further ahead and realize it's artificial. We both start heading towards it, instinctively. As we step into the light, panic gently gnaws at me because what I'm seeing makes absolutely no sense. It's no longer a cave or a hole. It's a long, sparsely lit corridor. Bum, bum, bum. Oh, that is creepy. I hate things like that. It's a massive corridor. In fact, it seems to go on forever. This corridor is mostly dark with emergency lights every 10 feet or so. I turn to my left and see that there's a door which appears to lead upwards to the outside, but it's locked tight. I push as hard as I can, but no luck. Dennis, help me with this, I say. He comes over and we both try to kick the door open, but it doesn't budge. For some reason, someone doesn't want people getting out of here. Looks like we're headed down the hallway. Let's not alert anyone that we're down in here. I feel like a ghost. Like I truly have no business being here. Dennis leans on me for support. We move slowly, our feet not making a sound. If anyone is in here, I want to make sure they don't hear us. We tiptoe forward as softly as we can. As I carry Dennis to the far end of the otherwise featureless place, I see a flight of concrete stairs leading down. I have to set Dennis down on the floor. His weight is killing me. Dennis, are you okay? Stop worrying, man. I'll be okay. I just need a minute to rest. But looking at him, I'm not so sure. I can still hear the ringing noise, ever so often, coming from somewhere in here. I look ahead at the concrete stairs pointing towards them so that Dennis sees them. Can you make it down those stairs? I ask. He stands up slowly and is visibly making an effort to not fall back down. Yeah, he says, and sounds a little irritated. He starts for the stairs without me. I have no choice but to follow. We approach the stairs, and by just looking at them, I get the sense we're crossing some sort of line here. There may very well be no going back. There's some concrete stairs. As I head down the stairs, I notice that they look aged. That darned ringing noise is somewhere below, louder than ever. I feel like I'm walking down into the cellar of a haunted house. The light becoming scarce as the stairs take a slight turn. I can feel the temperature drop. Dennis makes a few steps before he is leaning on the wall. He's breathing like he just finished a marathon. Just a little sip of water. Let's take and pause to give him a break. So that way, he doesn't, fall and die. I'd rather not lose more men. Let's take a break, I say, putting my hand towards his shoulder to help steady him. Dennis lets out a sigh. Thanks, I don't feel too great, boss. As we both squat down on a stair, my mind seems to lock in on the unknown fate of the rest of my crew. Frank is married, and I've met his wife a few times. A nice woman, with a huge laugh. My heart sags a bit when I realize I might never again get to hear him belting out classic rock tunes during lunch break. Joe, well, I don't know too much about him. He's 22 years old and is considering community college. His folks are deadbeats, so he's been providing for himself since the age of 16 or so. Maybe I can still find them and still get to hear Frank singing in his deep baritone voice after a few too many drinks. After a few moments, Dennis says, "All right, let's keep going." We both stand up, leaning on each other. I have to make Dennis stay behind me as I stick my foot out in search of the next step. I can't help feeling like a child as a very powerful fear seizes me. I'm expecting a monster to reach out of the darkness, slicing into my throat. After what feels like forever, we come to the bottom of the stairs. We're closer to that ringing noise now. A door sits securely in the wall and looks just as out of place down here as I feel. A silver light seeps through, illuminating the area. The door has what looks like a panel with slots of labels and lights. Small embossed print above the panel says, level, 01, entrance gate, transport sector. And there's a button with no label. Well, you don't push random buttons you just find. That's like the #1 no-no. Don't push random buttons. Let's take and inspect the panel. The panel looks like a diagnostic or alert system of some kind, each label meant to communicate some status. Lockdown engaged, experiment in progress, shutdown engaged. They all appear to be off, but one of the phrases has a slow, blinking red light next to it, the only powered light on this whole thing. Abnormal entity breach. What the heck? I slowly push the door open when Dennis suddenly steps in front of me, taking the lead. "Let's go," he says. "I want to find out what the heck this place is." As Dennis walks through, that ringing or beeping or whatever it is gets a little louder. The door closes behind us with a click. I can't help but notice the wobble in Dennis's step as he lets out a grunt. "You sure you're healthy enough to keep going?" I ask. "It doesn't matter. I don't want to be in the woods right now." He seems scared, something I've never seen before. Angry, yes. Upset, yes. But Dennis is never scared. Let's take and ask him what he saw. "What did you see?" "I don't know what it was, boss. It was like someone had left a radio on. Crackling, but we don't have any radios at the site. It was... I don't know, it was like something in the forest was moving." I gave him a doubtful look, and he cast his eyes to the ground, frustrated. "I know how it sounds," he says, "but I don't know what I felt. It was like walking into a funeral parlor, feeling death and gloom everywhere. I've been so preoccupied with my own fear that I nearly forgot about the ringing noise. It had become just background noise. We take a few more steps, and I can now see where we are. It makes no sense. Yet another thing that simply seems out of place. The shapes and muted colors of metal are easy to identify, but it just doesn't belong here." End of Chapter 1. This has been Chapter 1 of Buried. So, let's take and go through just a little bit of a recap, shall we? We have awoken on the ground, being knocked out by either falling or a blast from an explosion. We were unconscious for 6 hours. I believe it was Tony was dead because an excavator got tipped over on top of him. Dennis is alive. He saw a large, bright flashing light that essentially came out of the earth. There appears to be multiple of them. And now we're in some sort of underground corridor, a system of corridors, I guess. And apparently an unknown entity has escaped, I believe is what it said. So that's just a little bit odd. So let's take, and I'm going to end the episode here. So if you would like to continue watching, stay tuned for next week when Chapter 2 shall be released. So thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed this episode, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on social media. Links will be down in the description, and I will see you in the next video. Stay awesome.